Chapter 1. You are listening at famvetv.info. Chapter 1. Tracking everything within 10 meters. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. Traveler, your system has arrived. Congratulations on getting the invincible tracking system. Chen Chen was a little bored sitting at the entrance of Stone Village. Just as he was feeling down, a voice suddenly rang in his mind. Hearing this voice, Chen Chen felt energized, immediately jumping up from the rock at the front of the village. System. A late plug.in. The current tracking system is level 1, and the host can track anything within 10 meters. When the voice in his mind continued speaking, Chen Chen was so moved he could have cried that he had been in this world for 16 years. He originally thought it was a certain historical era, but when he was 2 years old, he saw someone flying in the sky. That was when he realized that this was a fairy world. As a result, the history he had majored in was useless, and he couldn't become famous by writing poetry. He didn't know physics and chemistry very well back then, so he couldn't do anything with science and technology either. The only way he got a second glance from area next door was when he did the bookkeeping. Unexpectedly, today, the plug.in had finally arrived. He didn't care about tracking or whatever, as long as it was a system. He had done nothing for more than 10 years. By now, he didn't care what it was. A person should be grateful. It was great to have a system at all, anything within 10 meters. Is there a limit to the number of times it can be used? Chen Chen asked in his mind. There's no limit to the number of uses allowed. The system will trigger hidden tasks for the host, upgrade hidden achievements, and occasionally reward the host, so please work hard. Then, the voice in his mind disappeared. Chen Chen pondered over this for a long time. He looked at the barren village entrance, suddenly feeling a little helpless. The entirety of Stone Village was tenant farmers. Everyone was poor, so what could he possibly track? The wife of the village chief did seem to have a valuable piece of jewelry, but was he going to steal it after he tracked it? There was a good chance he would be beaten to death if he did, but he was in no hurry. Since it was a system, it must have its purposes. He had to develop it slowly. His top priority for now was to go home, so he could experiment with the system in peace. Making up his mind to do this, Chen Chen quickly walked towards his home. His family was an ordinary one in Stone Village, and his parents were tenant farmers. Although they were not rich, his family was harmonious and could be considered happy. When he returned home, his parents were still farming outside, and weren't home yet. Silently in his mind, Chen Chen said, "Track the money at home. In the cabinet, 3 meters away, are 120 coins." This was where his family kept their money. Chen Chen knew it well, and his parents did not hide it from him under the bed. 4 meters away, are 40 coins. What? Chen Chen didn't know about this money at all. It was in his parents' room, just 4 meters away. Could it be his father's hidden private money? Chen Chen thought about it carefully and concluded that it was really possible, so he immediately walked to the next room and looked under the bed. After searching for a while, he found a small cloth bag with 40 coins. Indeed, there is money. Chen Chen thought to himself, then returned the cloth bag to its original place. More prompts continued to arrive in his mind. Go forward 5 steps and dig 10 centimeters underground. There is a rusty copper coin. Hearing this reminder, Chen Chen eagerly took out a small shovel and started digging. It didn't take long for him to find a rusty copper coin. After thinking for a long time, he faintly remembered that he had lost such a coin when he was a child. It was his New Year's gift money, and he had been upset for a long time. Since I have this system, maybe I could go to the county to pick up money for a living. Chen Chen couldn't help thinking, but he wanted to slap himself immediately after this idea was born. As a time traveler with a system, how could he be so pathetic? This would be an embarrassment for his time traveling predecessors. At this moment, a voice rang from the system in his mind. Achievement completed. Using the system for the first time. Reward earned. A chance to track anything within Sichuan County. Hearing this reminder, Chen Chen couldn't help but think of picking up money once again. The entirety of Sichuan County must have a lot of lost money. How could I want to pick up money? I've come to this fairy world, of course I need to find a way to cultivate immortality. Chen Chen settled down and didn't use this opportunity immediately. Who knew when he'd be able to track such a large area again? It was such a good opportunity, he didn't want to waste it. He'd have to wait until he was thoroughly familiar with the system before using it, and it must be used for cultivating immortality. In this fairy world, a big fist was the last word, and those who were immortal had the biggest fists. However, the number of immortals was very small. In Sichuan County, only the county magistrate may have some level of cultivation. Squires, landlords, etc. were, at most, ordinary people who had a little bit of ability. In the past, Chen Chen had nothing to do with cultivating immortality. For ordinary people like him, they would be pretty lucky if they saw a flying fairy even once in their lives. It was as likely as seeing a UFO in his past life. Now that he had a system, Chen Chen wanted to climb to the top of this world. Of course, it had not been easy for his parents to raise him all these years. Now that he had turned on the protagonist mode, it was time to repay them. They couldn't be tenant farmers anymore. It was more cost-effective to pick up money from the ground than to be a tenant farmer. Chen Chen continued experimenting with the system while thinking these random thoughts: search for a fairy and show it to me. There is no such creature within 10 meters. Search for a beauty and show her to me. There is no such creature within 10 meters. Is it possible to track anything else that's valuable? Go forward 6 meters, turn 3 meters, lower your head, and you will see something valuable. Chen Chen was a little surprised when he heard the system's voice that he had just been asking as a joke, but there actually was something. His family was poor, with only 100 or so coins in savings. So where was the valuable object? Deciding not to think about it any longer, Chen Chen quickly followed the system's prompts and found the place. It was his family's pigpen. The big, black pig in the pigsty was a bit tired and currently sleeping, and under his feet, there was nothing but a pile of manure. System, you are tricking me. Do you think sh*t is valuable? The feces of a mutated pig, once consumed after an illness, can increase one's lifespan for 3 months. Chen Chen was completely speechless when he heard this information from the system. Unexpectedly, Lao He, the pig living in his own house, was a little mutated. Simply by chance, he also produced feces that could increase lifespan. Chen Chen had to admit. Things that increased longevity were indeed valuable, but he couldn't eat feces. He was only 16 years old, and he didn't need a lifespan this much. He couldn't sell the feces either. He couldn't exactly hold a lump of feces and tell others, brother, let me show you a treasure. Look, this is a lump of mutant sh*t. If you ate it, you could live 3 months longer. Chen Chen was willing to bet that if he did this, others would beat him to death. So this pile of feces, ugly on the outside, but extraordinary on the inside, was destined to be buried. The power system in this book, ranked from low to high. Mortal, Qi training, foundation building, golden core, primordial soul, primordial spirit, imaginary training, joined body, Mahayana, immortal. The typical person during the Qi training period goes from 1 to 10, and the big realms of foundation building and golden core and later are divided into 4 small realms. The early stage, the middle stage, the late stage, and the peak. Listen to the full novel at famvetv.info, direct link in the description.